Ladies and gentlemen, good evening and welcome to the Hall of Fame banquet for the Airlift Tanker Association's 47th Annual Convention, Symposium, and Air Mobility Technology Exposition. Quietly, please rise for the presentation of the colors by the Air Force ROTC Detachment 159 Honor Guard from the University of Central Florida, and remain standing for the singing of the national anthem and the invocation. The national anthem will be sung this evening by Miss Erin Murphy, daughter of the ATA Treasurer, Colonel John Murphy, United States Air Force retired, and his wife, Kathy. Erin is visiting us tonight from San Francisco. The 60th Air Mobility Wing Command Chaplain, Father Colonel Bob Cannon, will offer the invocation. Post the colors.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Father Cannon.
It's such a privilege and an honor to be with you tonight to offer this prayer. Please join me in a prayer of thanksgiving. Lord God, thank you for our nation, the land that we love. When from its inception acknowledged you as creator, built on the inviolable principles of human dignity and freedom, formed into one people from every race and creed. Thank you for those untold brave and unsung heroes who sacrificed their tomorrows that we might have our todays. May we imitate their deep love of country and purpose to face the challenges of our own day and time. Thank you for all of those who stand in harm's way scattered around the globe, aloft in space, on distant shores, or sailing the seven seas, defending our nation and protecting the innocent. Guard them and bless their families. Thank you for all your countless blessings, seen and unseen, that have enriched us as a people. May we never presume your providential care. Thank you for these days that we have spent together enjoying friendship and the many opportunities to be re-inspired for the work that lies ahead of us, laying the foundations of peace, not only for ourselves, but for those longing for peace and freedom in other lands. Finally, bless our meal this evening and the opportunity to be together before we go forth in the service of our nation. In your most holy name we pray. Amen.
Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. It is now my pleasure to introduce our distinguished guests seated throughout the hall. The Commander, Air Mobility Command, General Carlton D. Everhart III, and his wife, Michelle. The 15th Chief of Staff of the United States Air Force and former Commander-in-Chief, United States Transportation Command, and Commander Air Mobility Command, and the 2013 inductee into the Airlift Tanker Hall of Fame, General Ronald R. Fogelman, United States Air Force retired, his wife, Miss Jane, and their granddaughter, Amelia. The former Commander-in-Chief, United States Transportation Command, and the former Commander of Military Airlift Command, and the 2006 inductee into the Airlift Tanker Hall of Fame, General Dwayne H. Cassidy, United States Air Force, retired. The former Commander of Pacific Air Forces, General William J. Beggart, United States Air Force, retired. The former Commander, United States Transportation Command, and former Commander of Air Mobility Command, General Duncan J. McNabb, United States Air Force, retired. The former Commander of Pacific Air Forces and Executive Director, Pacific Air Combat Operations Staff, General Gary North, United States Air Force, retired. Representing the 2007 inductees into the Airlift Tanker Hall of Fame, the Aeromedical Evacuation Legacy Team, Lieutenant General Paul K. Carlton, Jr., United States Air Force, retired, Colonel Regina Ani, United States Air Force, retired, and Colonel Bud Traynor, United States, retired, and Bud's wife, Pam. The 12th Chief Master Sergeant of the United States Air Force, Chief Master Sergeant Eric W. Benkin, United States Air Force, retired. The 14th Chief Master Sergeant of the Air Force, Chief Master Sergeant Gerald R. Murray, United States Air Force, retired. The Command Chief, Air Mobility Command, Chief Master Sergeant Vicki Gamble. I would also like to extend a special welcome to all of our command chiefs with us this evening. Would you all please rise as a group so that we might recognize you? I'm not really lost. Hang on. Colonel Jackson, sir, I apologize. The 1997 inductee into the Airlift Tanker Hall of Fame and recipient of the Congressional Medal of Honor, Colonel Joe M. Jackson, United States Air Force, retired, and his wife, Rose. Representing the 2005 inductee into the Airlift Tanker Hall of Fame and founding member, Major General James I. the Bagger Baginski, are his son, David Baginski, and his daughter, Amy Dodds. Our three founding members in attendance tonight: Colonel Jimmy Maturo, United States Air Force, retired; Colonel Bob Ellington, United States Air Force, retired; and Lieutenant Colonel Hank Van Giesen, United States Air Force, retired. This year's inductees into the Airlift Tanker Hall of Fame: the C-17 Pathfinder Loadmasters, Chief Master Sergeants Mike Welsh, Jim Liss, Dave Fincher, Mark Smith, Master Sergeant Ted Venturi, and the wife of the late Chief Master Sergeant Bill Cannon, Mrs. Marion Cannon. And now that I have recovered the leadership of the Airlift Tanker Association, the former commander of Air Mobility Command and the chairman of the Airlift Tanker Association, General Arthur J. Light, United States Air Force, retired, and his wife, Chris. The president of the Airlift Tanker Association, Chief Master Sergeant Michael C. Reynolds, United States Air Force, retired. Ladies and gentlemen, over the past 3 days, we have met numerous award winners. At this time, I would like to ask them all to please rise for one more moment of recognition and another round of applause. Ladies and gentlemen, please enjoy your dinner. Ladies and gentlemen, this evening we have the opportunity to have with us 3 members of a music collaboration showcasing the singing and songwriting talents of artists who just happen to be military veterans, military members, or their spouses and loved ones. Tonight, joining us from Operation Encore are Jerry Maniscalco, Rachel Hill, and Keith Broker. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Operation Encore.
Well, hi, everybody. My name's Keith. To my left is Jerry. We're going to bring out Rachel Hill here in just a couple of moments. We're Operation Encore. We're going to tell you a little more about that in just a moment, but why don't we start with a song? So this is the song I wrote that's on the album. It's called Late November. and we'll talk a little bit more about it afterwards. Thanks so much for having us. There's a quiet darkness inside her window tonight, in a silent fortress, a soldier who's lost the will to fight. There ain't no sense in talking, some things just never turn out right. So he just keeps on walking, sees his figure fade into the night. She says, why can't you remember? Can't you see there's something just ain't right? We don't need to spend our lives together, maybe just tonight, yeah. So she puts her head down. As he turns around, she can't stop thinking. Should he stop to talk, he wonders. It's just that it's so late, he's been drinking. She don't know what to do without him. Sees him turn around and turns on the light. Hears his footsteps in the hallway. She opens up her door and prays she's right. She says, why can't you remember? Can't you see that something just ain't right? We don't need to spend our lives together, maybe just tonight, alright. Why don't I remember? Just can't seem to ever get things right. Seems we never were in late November back in 1995. Thank you so much. Thank you very, very much. All right, so we're going to bring out Rachel Hill and play her song. I got to hand her a guitar, and then I'm going to tell you a little bit about us. Hang on. We got to swap guitar cables a little bit. So that song, Late November, it's just kind of about that uncertainty of coming home after long trips apart. I used to be a KC-135 pilot, then a C-21 guy before I... Oh, I knew I could count on my taker friend out there. That was part of the show. I hope you enjoyed it. That was a KC-135 taking... No, very, very happy to be here tonight. Operation Encore is a collaborative music effort made up of singers and songwriters who are veterans or current active duty members, things of that nature. A call was sent out for singer-songwriters within and formerly of the military community to submit songs, and the organizers of the project chose songs based on their relevance to the military experience, and we like to think the quality of the music, and flew us all out to Phoenix. We did the recording, and we released the album about a year ago. We do things that benefit veterans organizations, and what we really want to do is get the word out that there are some really talented folks out there who have served and are serving, and give those folks kind of an outlet for that incredible talent. So if you get a chance, look us up. It's www.operationencoremusic, all one word, .com. One last little plug, and then we're going to play Rachel's song. They are putting out another call for a second album. So those of you who are singer-songwriters, know people who are involved in that sort of thing, I want you to think about it. Point them in that direction. Point yourself in that direction. Take a look. Submit some songs, and do that real soon. So, without any further ado, Miss Rachel Hill with a song called...
I'll give you a little background about my song. I decided that I wanted to try and write a song for my husband for our 10th wedding anniversary. And I started to think about just all the good times that we had had together and the bad times too, like moves and deployments and the deaths of our 2 infant sons. And as I thought about those highs and lows of our marriage, the thing that just really stuck out to me was just how grateful I was that God had blessed me with my husband, and how thankful I was that we were able to just journey through this life together. So this song is called Another Trip Around the Sun with You.
Trip 1, our fairy tale began. Trip 2, you're in Afghanistan. I'm praying for you, baby. Get back to me as fast as you can. Trip 3, our baby's on the way. Trip 4, it's just me and you. We're learning how to love through the worst times too. But I can't wait to take another trip around the sun with you. Storms ahead or skies are blue, we'll be alright. Gonna wrap my arms around you and hold on tight. Spinning through the universe, exciting new adventure, or same old same. Nowhere else I'd rather be, you know it's true. I can't wait to take another trip around the sun with you. Trip 5, on to Tucson. Trip 6, we're having too much fun. She's a little bundle of joy, and her daddy's troubles have just begun. Trip 7, it's time to go again. Trip 8, will it ever sell? I'm so tired and don't feel well. I'm sorry, I know that's no reason to yell, but I can't wait to take another trip around the sun with you. Storms ahead or skies are blue, we'll be alright. Gonna wrap my arms around you and hold on tight. Spinning through the universe, exciting new adventure, or same old same. Nowhere else I'd rather be, you know it's true. I can't wait to take another trip around the sun with you. It's trip 9 and we're praying for someone we both love, but it isn't looking good. It's trip 10 and I'm lying here with my best friend, thinking of all the trials that our loves withstood. I can't wait to take another trip around the sun with you. Storms ahead or skies are blue, we'll be alright. Gonna wrap my arms around you and hold on tight. Spinning through the universe, exciting new adventure, or same old same. Nowhere else I'd rather be, you know it's true. I can't wait to take another trip around the sun with you. Let's go spinning through the universe, exciting new adventure, all same, all same. Nowhere else I'd rather be. You know it's true. I can't wait to take another trip around the sun with you. Another trip around the sun with you.
So this is a joint operation tonight. I'm actually the only Navy guy in the bunch. Thank you. Yeah, we won today. Did you guys see that? So I'm actually an active duty helicopter instructor. But I did do primary instruction at Vance Air Force Base when we were doing that. So I am schooled in the Air Force ways. Glad to be here. But this is a song called "We Are." I wrote it when we were actually in port in Bahrain on a deployment. She drives the same streets every day. Wonders, will these stories ever change? But these painted lines from easy times mislead her fragile mind. She can't stay between the lines, but she tries. Oh, she tries. He reads the same news every day. Wonders, will the stories ever change? But these headlines with familiar storylines only feature different names. He can't read between the lines, but he tries. Oh, he tries. Beds the children dream of things we long forgot. Puppets dance in this fairy tale, and could it be that far from home? We'll make this dream our own. We will. Underneath it all, 'cause we are, oh, we are. The world is quiet now. I wonder, will we ever be the same? Overcome ourselves and learn to love. Are we strong enough to make this dream our own? We are, oh, we are. Stone the builder rejected. We are close but not perfected. We are the hope of one another. We are holding up each other. We are trying to believe. We are stronger than you think. We are fighting for our
Ladies and gentlemen, Ms. Rachel Hill, Mr. Jerry Maniscalco. My name's Keith Broker. We're with Operation Encore. Please check us out on the interwebs and get the word out for us, will you, Thank you very, very much. Here's to you, ATA. See ya.
How about that? One more round of applause, please. And now, ladies and gentlemen, please enjoy the following tribute to this year's Hall of Fame inductees.
In the late 70s and early 80s, the Military Airlift Command, MAC, the predecessor to Air Mobility Command, started the process to purchase a new airlift aircraft, which would eventually replace the C-141. The aircraft requirements included the capability to rapidly deliver troops and cargo to main operating bases or directly to forward bases in a combat zone. Additionally, the aircraft would be capable of performing tactical airlift and airdrop missions. But this acquisition program was different, thanks to a band of loadmasters known as the Pathfinder Loadmasters. The Pathfinder Loadmasters, Chiefs Bill Cannon, Dave Fincher, Mike Welch, Jim Liss, Mark Smith, and Master Sergeant Ted Venturini were instrumental in providing leadership to guide the bidding companies and MAC to produce the first cargo aircraft specifically designed for a one loadmaster operation. Designated the C-17, McDonnell Douglas won the contract to produce this new airlifter in 1981.
Source selection requires the most experienced aircrew members to review detailed proposals and compare them to the MAC requirement, evaluating each proposal fairly and completely. Chief Master Sergeant Dave Fincher is the Pathfinder Loadmaster who represented MAC in the source selection process. Chief Fincher, you were a major contributor to the C-17 source selection team. We understand the source selection took 7 months. Would you say that's an accurate assessment?
Yes.
Do you recall anything about the source selection process?
We concentrated our efforts on the loadmaster side of the house.
For the source selection part, it was primarily you and the loadmaster cadre looking at that portion of the source selection process.
Yes.
To make sure the bidding companies were covering the requirements that MAC had set forth.
That's exactly right.
So you kind of brought together experience from C-130, C-141, and C-5 into the equation as you developed the requirement for the C-17 cargo bay.
That's right. Quite a grouping of expertise among all the military and the civilian side.
David, what was the hydraulic winch on the C-17 designed for?
The Abraham's tank, 140,000-pound winch.
We understand one of the reasons you were on the source selection team was your experience in working with oversized and outside cargo. Any specific cargo used for examples?
Hubble telescope.
Did you spend your full time in the Air Force as a loadmaster?
No, I didn't. I was from day one.
Any other thoughts you have?
I have to give credit to one individual, Ted Venturini. Ted helped a lot from day to day for like 10 years, I guess.
Well, I believe Ted was known as the Godfather, wasn't he?
Yeah, he certainly was. Rightfully so, too.
Working in various positions in the Air Force and in various aerospace offices, the Pathfinder Loadmasters designed the cargo compartment of the first cargo aircraft specifically built for a single loadmaster operation. Ted Venturini, a loadmaster with vast operational experience on mobility aircraft, including the C-5A, YC-14, and YC-15, retired from the Air Force in 1979 to join the McDonnell Douglas Company. There he was instrumental in developing the proposal for the revolutionary cargo compartment, using automation and innovation to allow a single loadmaster to accomplish all peacetime and combat air mobility missions. Ted?
I would like to start off by saying thank you to all my mentors and teachers in engineering disciplines of the Air Force and McDonnell Douglas and Boeing. Without them, this design of the C-17 cargo compartment and the three-man crew concept would have not been possible.
Ted, could you explain how the one loadmaster concept came about?
That idea came from the YC-14 and YC-15. because you only had one loadmaster to operate the whole thing. This is where the idea started. In my opinion, there were 3 E's that I worked for. 1, the ease of on-off loading operations. Number 2 was the ease of systems operations. Number 3 was ease of airplane operations. The first one was that we were working with was for a cargo floor and ramp design that was uniform floor strength and ramps that allowed for us to reduce the shoring requirement for different loads. The ramp angle that I fought for was maximum was 9 degrees. This was extremely important for loading all types of vehicles. The uniform strength of the cargo floor and ramp floor allowed us to place most of the loads anywhere we wanted. Part of the cargo floor contained integrated hydraulic variable speed cargo winch, which is controlled wirelessly. I was honored to be selected and fly as a loadmaster on the first flight of the C-17, September 15, 1991. But I wasn't the only mobility loadmaster at McDonnell Douglas during this design phase. Chief Master Sergeant Mike Welch, my teammates and Pathfinder loadmasters involved in the design of the C-17. Mike.
Thanks, Ted. My history with the C-17 started out with source selection at Wright-Patterson. And then from there, I ended up being hired to prove the C-17 aircrew training contract at McDonnell Douglas. And then from there, I was offered a position in the C-17 Ops Engineering. Ops Engineering has to do with anything operational about the airplane. And so my charge when I first got there was to prove the 29 mission scenarios that the 3-man-woman crew could operate the C-17 on. My area being loadmaster, it was the back end as far as converting from rolling stock to palletized and so forth. And then from there, I ended up being chairman of the Airlift Mission Systems panel. Basically, the same role I had when I was in the Air Force coming out to McDonnell Douglas.
Mike, did you begin your career as a loadmaster?
No, I didn't. I started out as a supply.
How many aircraft as a loadmaster did you qualify on during your service?
Started out on C-130Es. I did my pure combat tour on C-123K candlestick flare ships. Did C-141s and A's, and then the B models came.
What would you say was your most significant contributions to the entire C-17 program?
The most significant was, I guess, is being part of the team. Ted and I joined McDonnell Douglas after source selection, and we were joined in 1982 by a great mobility legend, Chief Master Sergeant Bill Cannon.
Chief Cannon passed away in March of 2014, so we will be unable to hear Bill tell us of his contributions to the C-17 in his own words. Bill joined the McDonnell Douglas team, serving as a project loadmaster for the C-17 team. Bill skillfully integrated the operational skills with the McDonnell Douglas engineering staff. He fine-tuned the fully integrated and dedicated Loadmaster Station, which would enable the Loadmaster to command ultimate control of the entire aircraft cargo compartment. After the first flight in 1991, he became the Chief Loadmaster of the C-17A Flight Test Program at Edwards Air Force Base, California. We are honored to have Marion Cannon, Chief Cannon's wife, here tonight to provide comments.
Thank you, Mike, and thank the ATA. I want to give you a little spiel on the C-17, on Bill's version of the C-17. Early in 1980, Bill was asked to be part of a source selection board to help choose a new aircraft design for the Air Force's newest cargo transport. After the board went through all the designs of yet-to-be-built aircraft, they settled on now the C-17 Globemaster III. As Bill would put it, it had all the right features. Not ever thinking that he would become part of the C-17 team to build and design this aircraft. He was very proud and honored to be part of the C-17 team and was greatly appreciative of the opportunity to work with all what he called the cream of the crop personnel. He would tell you working on that test model was a great experience and every day was just pure fun. When asked about the C-17, he would tell everyone there is not another plane like it. It is a plane built for all who fly her, but most of all for the loadmasters. So this evening you are not just honoring those who helped build this plane, but all the loadmasters who fly or will fly this great aircraft, and you're honoring my family.
While Ted, Mike, and Bill worked at McDonnell Douglas, the design and system specifications had to come from the customer through the systems program office. Chief Master Sergeant Jim Liss was at Wright-Patterson defining the requirements for MAC and working with industry to ensure the aircraft would meet mission requirements. Jim?
Thanks, Mike. My introduction to the C-17s, I had an assignment to Wright-Patterson, and on December 12th I showed up in preparation for source selection, which began in January of 1981.
What do you feel was your greatest contribution to the overall C-17 program?
Troop door design, being part of the workload studies, proud of what I offered throughout that whole program. The dual row airdrop, capability to carry an M1 tank 144,000 pounds, helped evolve the aircraft into additional capabilities that I think they're still discovering today.
What aircraft were you qualified on as a loadmaster throughout your career?
C-130E, C-141A, C-141B, NC-141, the NC-130s, C-27.
Did you begin your career as a loadmaster?
No, I started out in radar maintenance.
In 1985, Chief Master Sergeant Mark Smith was selected as the first C-17A Project Loadmaster in the Wright-Patterson Systems Program Office. Later, Mark moved to Charleston Air Force Base as the initial cadre loadmaster. Mark?
Thanks, Mike. I'd love to point out the fact that it was truly an honor to be selected as the C-17's Project Loadmaster during the design phase of the aircraft. The opportunity to apply your operational loadmaster expertise and experience directly to the Air Force and McDonnell Douglas teams of aeronautical engineers and fellow C-17 Pathfinder loadmasters was exciting and extremely humbling. Ted, Bill, Dave, Jim, and Mike are true professionals and mentors of mine, and I feel very lucky and proud to have served with these talented men and outstanding loadmasters. Initial squadron operations and flight training for 450 loadmasters at Charleston was probably one of the best experiences in my Air Force career. Deploying 12 C-17 aircraft to Bosnia for 4 months shortly after IOC was the true test of the aircraft and real-time operational capability. Returning to the SPO as the Chief Loadmaster Manager was bittersweet. Frankly, our team of Loadmaster professionals and experienced design engineers got a lot of things right at the beginning, so the redesign, repair, and fix business was a bit easier than expected.
Mark, did you spend your entire career as a loadmaster?
I spent my entire time as a aircraft loadmaster. I was qualified on C-141 and C-17 aircraft.
Mark, could you tell us what would be your most significant contribution to the C-17 program during your tenure?
Opportunity to improve, shape, and mold an aircraft for aircraft loadmasters as they support air mobility operations for many years to come.
The Pathfinder Loadmaster's effort ensured the success of the single loadmaster concept and the advancement of AMC's requirement for speed, velocity, and mission throughput. The C-17's operational design allows one loadmaster to pre-flight the aircraft in less than 30 minutes and configure or reconfigure the cargo compartment in less than 20 minutes. This creative design allows AMC to reduce aircraft ground times by as much as 3 hours. The Loadmaster Station allows a single loadmaster to manage all cargo compartment systems. The weight and balance system allows the transfer of information directly to the flight deck through the mission computer. No other cargo aircraft anywhere in the world has these unique features. The Pathfinder Loadmasters are a tribute to the mobility airmen of the past and provide inspiration for the future. It is for these great mobility accomplishments that the Airlift Tanker Association proudly inducts the Pathfinder Loadmasters into the Hall of Fame for 2015.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage General Light, General Cassidy, and the 2015 inductees into the Airlift Tanker Hall of Fame, Chief Master Sergeant Retired Mike Welsh, Chief Master Sergeant Retired Jim Liss, Chief Master Sergeant Retired Dave Fincher, Chief Master Sergeant Mark Smith, and Mrs. Marion Cannon. Now, I'm gonna ask you to indulge us for just a minute. Some of these gentlemen are very experienced, and they don't move quite as lithely as they used to. And so I was instructed by General Cassidy to tell a few jokes. Thank you. Okay, General Cassidy is going to, as always, take the privilege of the mic.
Well, I did have something to say. Actually, they've asked me to be their spokesman. It's normal for the inductee to have something to say afterwards. If we let these chiefs get up here and say something, we'd be all night. So I'm going to say something for them. I'm going to give you another part to the story. As they were doing all this wonderful work, and this came to me, I was traveling with General McNabb through Afghanistan and Iraq several years ago, and I saw for the first time the C-17 in combat. And I was absolutely and totally amazed because I thought I knew everything there was to know about that airplane as we were building it. Now, I'd been retired 20 years by the time I took this trip. And we did everything that that airplane was supposed to do. We did circling blackout night landings in places that were hot. We turned the airplane every time through 6 sorties in less than 15 minutes. The specifications said we had to turn an airplane that size, full cargo, in 20 minutes. We beat everything. The crews, the air crews, found things to do with the airplane that we never thought of. And the loadmasters did loadmaster stuff the whole time, including an occasional nap. But they earned it. And when I look back at my history with the airplane, it started when a great DO in Mac, Baginski was his name, and he had a wonderful assistant. That was me. And we decided that we would do a study on whether or not the C-17 was needed because people were asking, why do you need the airplane? And the study proved without a doubt that we needed more lift. And the Congress got into it and said, good, we'll send you 50 747s. You can change them to cargo airplanes, and the problem's over. Give us your next problem. And they meant that. And these guys were working their tails off, developing source selection, and all this time, our members of Congress had given us direction to go in a completely other direction. We fought that as an Air Force. The Air Force and us both fought that program, and they decided instead of the 747 then, they'd issue us 50 new C-5s. That's when the C-5B came in around 1983, 84, in that time period. So all this work they were doing, all this time, sat not nearly at the pace that it needed to be. We reduced the number of people at Wright-Patterson by 80. We reduced people all over and put them on different things, and we were taking in a new C-5 into the inventory. And we had some troubles with the C-5, as you all know. And this was just using the same dies, et cetera, to build the airplane. And so we got the 50 C-5s, and we started back in then to this program. By that time, the source selection was done. Things were going on. These great loadmasters were doing their job, and we ran into all sorts of other problems that we had to solve politically. And so the first the first thing they allowed us to do was plan for 20 airplanes, and then it was up to 32 airplanes, and then it was 45, but it never got to the number 232 that the Banquet program had said we needed. And this went on until we finally figured it out, and there were parts for the C-17 built in 42 different states. The Air National Guard was with us, and 2 great senators helped us then finally get the C-17 under production. So 32 years after these guys started working on it was operational readiness of the airplane. And that, to me, was almost criminal. But nonetheless, that worked it, and these guys stuck with it. Ted Venturini, at every chance, put up his right finger to me and gave me a speech that I'll never forget. I mean, and he did the same thing every time I saw him. Ted Venturini is the only one of these guys that's not a chief master sergeant, but he's the chief. Right, Ted? So I thought at the time we ought to do something for them, and what better could we do than make them part of our history? And that's why they're here tonight.
Lady and gentlemen, if you don't mind, would you please unveil the bust? Ladies and gentlemen, our 2015 Airlift Tanker Hall of Fame inductees, the C-17 Loadmaster Legacy Team. I would now like to invite all active duty and retired 4-star generals present to please join us on stage as we welcome back Miss Erin Murphy. All present? As is our tradition, please rise, join hands, and raise your voices as Erin leads us in the singing of God Bless America. No, you better start, Erin.
God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the light with a light from above. From the mountains to the prairies to the oceans white with foam. God
Ladies and gentlemen, please remember that daylight savings ends tonight, so before you go to bed, don't forget to adjust your clocks. Thank you all so much, and we'll see you next year in Nashville, Tennessee. God bless you, and God bless the United States of America.